All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD 1000 Web Development Technologies course, I've been creating a series of video presentations based on the Mozilla Developer Network Learn Web Development series. And I'm in the JavaScript section, and we're talking web APIs, manipulating documents. All right. So we started to go through this before, and they want us to come in. We're manipulating basically this example, and we're manipulating it using JavaScript and the DOM. So it says go back to the current example. Let's start by grabbing a reference to our section element and add the following code at the bottom of the existing script. All right, so all right. So again, we're using query selector, and we're looking for the first section element in here. Well, there is only one, so it's going to find this one right here. All right. Now let's create a new paragraph using the document.create element. All right. Now, just doing that, in a way at least, that paragraph is kind of existing out in purgatory right now. In other words, it's not part of the page yet, because we'll have to next take that and append it to our sect. All right, right there. So let's go back and do all this. Finally, it says for this part, let's add a text node to the paragraph the link sits in to round off the sentence nicely. First, we will create a text node. All right, I'm just going to throw this onto another line so you can read all of it. And it should say const, not onst. There we go. And then finally, we'll grab a reference to the paragraph. The link is inside, and append the text to it. Now, let's go in and look at the before picture, and then we'll look at the after picture. So this is the before picture right here. And the after picture, all right, we told it to add to this paragraph the premier source for developing your knowledge. All right, and we hope you enjoy the ride. So we added that information to an existing document using the DOM, or document object model. That's most of what you need for adding nodes to the DOM. You make use of these methods when building dynamic interfaces. Not only can you add things, you can remove things, and you can move things around. So as it says, at times you might want to do one or the other. If you wanted to move the paragraph with a link inside, we could do this. It says this moves the paragraph down to the bottom of the section. Let's look. Again, I've called this before to you immediate feedback because you can refresh and immediately see what happens. All right. For lack of better words, it kind of transposed the order of the paragraphs. It says you might have thought it would make a second copy of it, but this is not the case. Link para is a reference to the one and only copy of the paragraph. If we wanted to make a copy, we'd use clone node. All right. Removing a node is fairly simplistic as well. So this should remove it. So we did the append child to move it down. And now we're doing the remove child. And this should be gone. And indeed it is. When you want to remove a node based only on a reference to itself, which is fairly common, you can use the name of it dot remove. All right. So rather than where it is dot remove child with a name, just the name dot remove. This method is not supported in older browsers. They have no method to tell the node to remove itself, so you got to do it this way. Link para.parentNode.remove child, and then what you want to remove. All right. All right, as mentioned next in here, it is possible to manipulate CSS styles via JavaScript in a variety of ways. Now, a couple things with this. All right. What you're going to notice when you do certain things with JavaScript, and they give an example here, that was the one I was hoping they'd use, and that is this. Notice its background color. All right. But if I go in and I look in here, so if I come in here, and let's just say, I'm going to remove this right away, but let's say I put in a style tag here. So beginning and ending style tag. And I'm going to say in here, body. And let's just assume for a second I want to set the background color. All right, well, I want to do the color, so notice it's like this. It's background minus color, and I'd say, for example, orange. All right, just happened to come to mind. And you'll notice that when I look at this, come back and refresh the page, it's orange. No surprise there. But notice in here, it's background color, not background hyphen color. All right. What happens is when you do this and you start manipulating CSS using JavaScript, if I were to say background hyphen color, it would think that what I was trying to do was take a variable named background and subtract from it another variable named color, which is, of course, not the way I'd want to do it. All right. So it says to start with, you can get a list of all the style sheets attached to the document using the document.stylesheets, which returns an array of these. You can add and remove them as wished, but we're not going to talk about those here. So the best way to add inline styles, the first way is to add inline styles that you want to dynamically style, done with the HTML style element. All right. It says, and as an example, try adding these to our example. So I'm going to grab this. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to comment out this orange that I just put in here. And let's just make sure that that worked by going back to here, refreshing the page, and refreshing the page. Well, the orange I thought would have been gone. All right, let's just get rid of it. And I've saved. And it's gone. That's what I want. Why? Because I want to come back in here into my JavaScript portion that's right here. And I want to put in this. What should happen when I do this is my text should turn white. My background should turn black. I should have 10 pixels of padding all the way around. The width should be set to 250 pixels, and the paragraph should be aligned in the center of the screen. Let's see if indeed all of that happened. And again, there's the before, there's the after. All right, now, a couple things. I'm looking here, and it does not look like it. You might say, well, it doesn't look like it centered it. I believe it did, because I believe what it did here was it centered it based on the width of 250 pixels. All right, if we change that, let's try 550 and just see what happens. And you'll notice, oh, I guess that's all we're working with is in here. All right, so let's move it back again to the size it was which was 250 pixels. Oh, it's the paragraph. That's right. It's not the image. All right. So this paragraph that we saw in here is a line based on 250 pixels. And it's centered. Really what we want is it to be centered inside of here. All right, and it is. All right, again, as we've already talked about, even though it looks like this, we have to put it in like this. All right. There's another way to dynamically manipulate styles on a document. It says delete the previous 5 lines and add the following inside of your HTML. So let's do the same thing. So I'm going to remove these. Save, go back to the to my example, remove it to make sure you can see, boom, it's been changed. Then go in, and in my style section, they're wanting us to add a class called highlight, which is doing basically the same thing. All right, and then I believe what I'll have to do is probably in this paragraph here, I'll have to add the class of highlight, but let's see. Oh, okay. They're doing it in the JavaScript. Totally fine. So now we'll turn to a very useful method for general HTML manipulation, setAttribute, which takes 2 attributes. The attribute you want to set, which is class, and the name of that attribute, highlight. So this is saying in that paragraph, what we want to do is we want to set the highlight class. So I'm going to copy that. Now they say you'll see no change. I disagree. Okay? Because I removed the settings that were in there. So let's see. Oh. Well, then what did we set? Color white, background color black, padding, etc. Now hold on. The CSS is still applied to the paragraph, but this time it's by giving it a class, not with inline styles. So what didn't it like? Add this inside of the head. Let's just see if we did all this. And notice I've got another empty style tag here. That may have been what screwed it up. Let's check that right now. Still did not change anything. Our text color should be white. Our background color should be black. This all looks legitimate to me. Oh, wait a minute here. Now I've got this too. Holy moly. So let's try it one more time. There it is. So that was another way of doing it. All right. As always, there are plenty of ways of doing it, these kind of things. But what we're learning now is how to do it in the JavaScript as opposed to just doing it inside of the HTML itself. The method you choose, they say there, is up to you. Each has its own advantages and disadvantages. The first method takes up less setup and is good for simple uses. The second is for more purist. You're not mixing the CSS and the JavaScript. All right, I think the second method is better myself. At this point, we haven't really done anything useful. There is no point using JavaScript to create static content. We might as well write it in the HTML and not use JavaScript. It is more complex than HTML, and creating your own content with JavaScript has other issues attached to it. All right, this was the finished version. And let me jump back. That was it live. Okay, but again, even though mine, you say, well, yours doesn't look like that. Yes, it does. As long as I blow it up. it's going to look like that. Okay. All right. I'm at 15 minutes, so I'm going to stop this lesson right here.